Are you a real estate agent that always feels like there's something new, something more to grab your attention and may pull you away from your actually producing, income producing activities? That's absolutely the case in a lot of things, especially in our industry. There's always something new. So today we're going to dive into actually measuring your business analytics and making a plan to move forward without getting distracted, but still giving yourself a little bit of time to adventure out and see if there's something you can grab and implement as a pillar of your business. What's up, guys? Jeremy Kane, Real Estate Agent Playbook. This one is right in my wheelhouse, as this is absolutely key to success, and my success is really dialing down and focusing on what exactly I am doing as a real estate agent to continue to move my business forward, measuring what gets managed, which is a good friend of mine, Mike Sherrard's favorite saying, and diving in. So if you're interested in learning more, I do offer a realtor game plan call below. Click the link, get involved as well. If you comment the word course, when I release my course, you will be on the list of the first group of agents to get access to my Foundations course for real estate agents that will absolutely bring all of this full circle and give you the foundational pieces you need with accelerators and video courses and all things built in so you could dial down and focus your business. So let's get rolling. So the most important thing I realize in my real estate business is what will continue to work and continue to build. If you're one of those agents that's pulling Facebook leads and pulling YouTube leads and pulling TikTok leads, doing open houses, door knocking, maybe trying to manage your sphere a little bit, and you're kind of stretched so thin, you're a jack of all trades, master of none. And that is absolutely what a lot of us do, because this industry's hard. It's hard to get going. We love houses, we love people. However, not all real estate agents understand, especially when they first get in, that this is a business and it must be managed, and we must look at the results in order to make decisions moving forward. And if you run your real estate agent life like a business, you will have much more success. And this is exactly what we are doing in this video, is essentially treating it more like a business than it has in the past. And so what I traditionally do is I really roll by the 75-25 rule. I want solid foundation pillars of my business. I want to spend 75% of my money, my efforts, and everything into those activities that are feeding those pillar of business. For instance, sphere of influence or repeat clients, or maybe it's an affiliate, to a group or foundation that you're a part of, but managing that sphere, or your gym or your church, dumping all of your time and your money into those things that are producing and have produced for you is absolutely the case. Now, I hear you. I'm a brand new real estate agent. I'm just trying to get involved and I want to, understand this. Certainly, you're in a great space because we can kind of foreplan your year, and then we can work backwards in order to focus those efforts. And you will have a little bit of adjustment because some things you think will be great won't work, but that's perfect. We're still measuring, we're still flexible. And I want tenured agents to hear that too. Just because we're, crushing it at one thing and the market's this way, the market could shift and turn that off. And that's why I am always such a big proponent of measuring your numbers, knowing your numbers from the years past, where your clients came from, and all the things. And so let's dive into this a little bit as we kind of get rolling. Okay, so here we are with my spreadsheet of past clients, and we're not going to, I've omitted some names and property addresses here, but it's really simple. Say 1/1/2000. We're in here, we're gonna type, let's go here. Boom, 1/1/2024. We closed John Doe and Jane Doe at 123 Main Street for 1.54, right? And then, this one was on 1/15/24. Obviously, I'm making this up, for Frank Miller, and he wasn't married. 123 Fun Street. Okay, as you go, you get that. We don't need to continue with that. Notice on here, I have the source, past client referral, right? They were a buyer. They closed on 1/1/24. The names, the property address, the close price, the commission, my brokerage is cut, right? So I've obviously clearly removed some names from this. And as you go down, you will continue to see. Now, I don't need to put these dates and client names or addresses in for you to get the point. So then I scroll down here, and since I have all of these in the pipeline here, I have it made here so it can actually manage, okay, there's 17 past client or past client referrals, there's 13 SOI or SOI referrals, there's 9 business partner referrals, 1 Mile High Champions, which is give back to my nursing community that I do. And notice how these are pretty general, right? We could take this a step further if we wanted to and said, okay, these were past client referrals from people that sold, before 2000 or bought before 2015, and they're coming around, so you can really dial down the date. Or yes, it's an SOI referral, but it's because I'm very active in my church. And so, 12 of the 13 were actually from my church. So you can get more dialed in. This is just a basic understanding. Now, some people will also take this and be like, okay, you did 40 transactions. We're going to, pull from here and say, okay, we have 17 past client referrals, 17 divided by 40, and I'll do the math real quick here, is 42% of the time. So I'm gonna spend 42% of my time on past client referrals. What goes into a past client retention or a referral from a past client? Well, their experience from the very beginning, right? So you need to have a really good client experience if that's the case. So I can break this down as you go. What I typically like to do is spend 25% on my top 3 pillars. So 25% of my time, let's say 24 hours of prospecting time in my week, right? So that's 24 hours. 24 divided by 4 is 6. So I'm going to spend 6 hours a week on past client referrals. I'm going to spend 6 hours a week on sphere of influence and sphere of influence referrals. I'm going to spend 6 hours a week on business partner referrals. And then I'm going to spend 25% or another 6 hours on new things, right? Developing my Mile High Champions program, creating a, give back to an affinity program, building bringing a business in as an affiliate, and, working a deal out with my brokerage, or, maybe it's open houses or door knocking or more traditional values. Also, a lot of this can come into play, right? If I'm doing past client referrals and SOI, I'm driving people to my YouTube channel. So creating videos and properly, optimizing them and getting the SEO down, recording them could be, maybe 1 or 2 hours from each of these. And so you're building your time out in ways that you are growing those pillars. And so that's super important, because some people will be like, well, YouTube's a pillar in itself. Okay, if YouTube is a pillar in itself, then you can take 25% of your time and put it towards that because you've seen results or you hope to see results. And that's absolutely okay, because this is yours and you can do it. So that's exactly how I kind of divided it up. And if you would like a copy of my deal tracker, I will clear this out, make the, all of the formulas work, and send that over to you. Just comment deal tracker in the comments below, and I'll make sure we get that over to your email associated with your YouTube account. All right, so once we've seen that, and we have to go back and measure that, and it's super easy to go back and say, okay, these were my deals, this is where they came from, this is how much money I made, all the things, whatever metric that drives you want to do that. I focus on transaction count, not necessarily sales volume or that. Some people might get super calculated and dialed into that, right? If you want to move up price points, I would suggest that. Okay, well, I'm going to, I did this many here. I'm going to spend this much time, focusing on how I got those $1 million listings or what have you. So that's super important. But once you have all of that and it's in front of you and you have the averages, you have the amounts, you can really focus on, okay, boom, those are my 3, or maybe it's 4 for you. I'm going to spend, 20% of my time in past client, 20% at open houses, 20% in, YouTube, and 20% in, business partner referrals, and then 20% on new things. The point is that you want to limit the time you spend on shiny object syndrome to a quarter at most of your time in prospecting each week, because certainly we always want to advance, we always want to build new things, and I think it's pretty difficult in this industry not to, oh, that's working over there, I'm going to try that. keep in mind that real estate is hyper local and you are hyper unique. And that's super important to remember. So as we're kind of breaking this down, once you have that, then you're measuring exactly what's going on. And then I would say, measure, your goals. Here's your goal. This is where I want to get to. I want to sell, 60 homes this year. You can reverse engineer that if you want to go from 40 to 60 and just multiply all of those by, the right amount. So if you have 17 out of 40, you take 17 divided by 40, whatever that is. Let's just do the numbers here so we have it. 17 divided by 40 is 42%. So if I take 40.425 and times that by 60, the amount of deals I want to do, that means I have to do 25.5 deals in that past client referral bucket that was 17 deals. So you can kind of reverse engineer that and understand, okay, this is how I need to do that. You'll get better at your marketing, you'll get more repeat client referrals as you go. And however you classify those is fine, but you can continue to dial in these numbers and take the data and put it into your calendar, right? So you start with annual goals, this is what I have to do. And then you say, okay, this is what it's going to take to do that. Boom, I need to prospect this much to get there. The market share will be the same because we're dealing with a percentage of, from SOI or whatever pillar it's from. And then you implement that into your daily schedule. Okay, 2 hours on Mondays, I'm going to reach out to, 5 to 10 people in my SOI. I'm going to call them, have a conversation, or I'm going to send them all a note that's personalized. I'm going to check them out on socials. I'm going to see what's going on. If I haven't connected with them or I don't see them, I'm just going to call them and say, hey, I was thinking about you, just driving through the neighborhood the other day. And don't lie and don't make things up, but you can have reasons to have conversations with these people, especially if they're past clients or in your sphere of influence from the past. And so dedicate that time to that specific pillar, and moving forward, you can absolutely crush your business. So, and it takes discipline, right? There's apps like Toggle where you can really track, okay, this is what's going on. I set a timer, right? When I'm really dialed into this, I'm like, okay, especially myself, because I have the agent attraction side, people wanting to join my downline and do all that. So I have a whole separate business over here that I'm, conversing with agents and, participating in Facebook groups and going to events and all the things. So then I have to take, okay, how much of my business do I want to be that? How much of my income do I want to be production? Divide that time up and then break it down within. Because the only true unique value we have is time, right? That's the only thing we can't control. We can't expand. We can get better and we can leverage other people and VAs and all the things, but time is so important. And so if you have a statistical approach to your activities and you time block as a result, you will have more success because you're focused on everything's driven at reaching those goals and that potential. So I hope that helps. Again, you got a couple things. Comment deal tracker below and I will send you the spreadsheet for sure. And if you comment course, I will put you on the list to find out first, at least 3 days before the public, to have the opportunity to get into that course and really dial in your business. So I hope that helps. If you're listening on the podcast, please share this with somebody. Maybe hop over to the YouTube link and comment those things so you can get those freebies. But I look forward to, communicating with you. Again, the Realtor Game Plan call link below. We can absolutely have a conversation. It doesn't have to be a full-blown course. You don't have to take this and run, but it could be 30 minutes of, hey, Jeremy, this is what I got going on. Can you help, organize my thoughts so I can be as productive as possible? All of that, I'm willing to help. Please like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.